So with Spider-Man releasing at the end of this November, I figured I should talk about what I think they're going to do with the character, because I have some predictions and I'm curious to see if they come true and how well this video will hold up because of those predictions. So first things first, I've seen a lot of people speak about whether they think Spider-Man's going to have any villains, and I just don't think that's the case. One, this is not a full expansion, this is just an event that will be releasing with Spider-Man, and there's not going to be that much content revolving around Spider-Man himself since he is a console exclusive. Releasing a bunch of content with an exclusive character that a third of your player base is going to get to play with is not a smart business move, and they're just not going to make it. That's why they're releasing Spider-Man along with the raid and along with his gear rework and along with shipments. It's just a lot of new content coming at the same time so that players don't feel like it's just Spider-Man and everyone else is getting shafted. So with that said, I would be surprised if anything but AIM is what Spider-Man is fighting against in this event. I will say that if they are going to include any Spider-Man villain at all, which again I do not think is the case, I have a very specific choice for who it would be. And that choice is based purely on what I think they could do with the least amount of development resources, and that choice is somebody like Rhino. Rhino, you could just reskin Abomination or Maestro and then have like a little bit of a different moveset, and you've got yourself Rhino. Like, he just needs like a charge attack and he's just Rhino. That's it, you're done. And I think that's literally all they would need to do, and that would be a Spider-Man villain, and that would be enough for some people. Again, just my thoughts, but there they are. That's what I think. Now, of course, with Marvel's Avengers being as cosmetic oriented as it is, there's a lot of speculation on what suits we'll be getting in this game, and I think the symbiote suit and other suits like that are a pretty obvious given for what they'll include. And eventually, of course, we'll get MCU skins like your Homecoming and your Far From Home, etc. I hope we do see some really good deep cut comic book ones though, like the classic Iron Spider or something along those lines. I'll give you my top list real quickly. It would be fucking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it would be Insomniac Games Spider-Man, and it would be like that classic vintage comic booky Spider-Man. And those are the three that I really care about. Let me know in the comments what Spider-Man suit you really want to see in this game. Now I want to talk some mechanic theories. I think that Spider-Man will web swing. I think web swinging is too important to leave out entirely, but I think it will be pretty much just swinging off nothing and, you know, not as good as Insomniac's. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think it'll be good as Insomniac, sorry. But that's because you can't do better than perfection. And I also think that his Traversal will borrow from the wall running that Captain America and Black Panther and Hawkeye can already do. But I think he might get, you know, more wall running. I think he won't have to ever stop because he could just glue to the wall. And I think that will be how he kind of traverses. And I wouldn't be surprised if his wall crawling was very similar to Black Panther's, how he just like sticks his claws in there and jumps and sticks his claws in again. I wouldn't be surprised if he just leapt up and stuck and leapt up and stuck. I think that's probably the route they're going to take. It's easier, and I just would be surprised. As for his combat, I've heard really good things from word of development mouth themselves, that they're very excited and that the developers are playing him more than they thought that they would. And this is interesting to me because usually when you're developing something or you're the person in charge of making a thing, you do it because it's an obligation and not because it's fun. But I've heard that the developers are finding playing Spider-Man very fun, and that bodes well for me. Of course, they could just need to say that, I don't know. Regardless, this honestly fills me with a little bit of hope, and I'm really looking forward to what he plays like. Obviously, his ranged attack is going to be some form of webs. He'll probably have different kinds of webs, if I had to guess. Similar to how you can swap between different kinds of ranged attacks with Hawkeye and Iron Man. He'll probably have a base web, he'll probably have like a shock web or something else that does high damage, and then he'll probably have like a more stun-based web, maybe that like goops people up and gets them not to move, or it'll be like a range-based web that hits multiple targets. I don't know what that would look like, but that's just a theory. A game that kill me. And I will make one final big balls prediction, okay? This one is not something I've ever seen anybody say about Spider-Man yet, and I'm just pretty confident that it's gonna be the case. He's gonna be the best fucking character in the video game, hands down. So if you're not on a PlayStation, I am very sorry for you. I very much predict that he will be my new main. Based on the little information that we know about the story of the Spider-Man event, I know that he will be interacting mostly with Black Widow and Kamala Khan, and we also know that this Spider-Man is a little bit younger and a little bit on the less experienced side of things, especially when compared to somebody like Insomniac Spider-Man who's been in the game for like 5 years. There have been theories going around that this Peter Parker will have a love interest in Kamala Khan, but I don't find that very likely. We'll see. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I just don't assume it will happen. I feel like that'd be weird just for them to add, not to happen. But I do really look forward to seeing Black Widow and Spider-Man's interactions, because Black Widow's sense of humor and Spider-Man's are very different. One of them is very dry and the other one is soaking wet. But you've never heard somebody's humor explained as soaking wet before. I hated that. But yeah, those are really my big theories for Spider-Man, and I want to know what you guys think. If I missed any awesome theories, leave them down in the comments and I'll let you know just what I think about them. I'm super curious to hear what you guys have to say. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help me out a lot, and we're really close to 1,000. We're literally 202 away from the time of this video's recording, and 1,000 is something that I never thought that I would reach. So having it be like that close is absolutely so intimidating and crazy and awesome. And I don't say this enough, I think, but thank you guys very much for existing. This is crazy and wonderful, and I am blessed to have any of this at all. It's awesome and all of that. I'm assuming this bled into the outro, so there's probably things on screen for you to click. If you want to watch more of my content, please go ahead and click those. They're fun, they're good, there's good stuff. I make good stuff all the time. It's always higher effort than this probably, but that's okay. Yeah, goodbye. I'm gonna run now. Peace, boys. See you in the next one.